Hey everybody, good morning. It's Robert from Pheasant Lane Farm. Got a little drive here today, so I figured a good time to have a little conversation about tractors. So we just purchased some land, 20 acres, mostly woods, and we have a lot of plans for it. So one of them being, there's some old pastures there that need to be brush hogged down. There's some trails that need to be made through the wood. There's a lot of down trees that need cleaned up. There's a lot of dirt work projects. There's a little creek behind the house that needs some attention. I don't think the house is graded as well as it could be, so that's going to be a project. I have about 4 semi-truck loads of stone coming this week. So there's a lot of things that we're just going to need a tractor for. I have 3 older farm tractors, but they just don't have the power and the agility that these new ones do. So here's where we're at. A year ago we started looking for land, and about a year ago I started researching tractors. From my perspective, buying a tractor is a lot more detail oriented than buying a piece of property. You go look at a house, you either like the house or you don't, or you like the house but there's some changes you want to make, but overall it is what it is. Buying a tractor, there's endless variables. How many horsepower you want to go, what size you want to go, what lift capacity you want in the front, are you going to be using your 3-point hitch a lot? The big thing for me was PTO horsepower. You could buy a 40 horsepower tractor and a 25 horsepower tractor that are on the same frame, and they'll do all the same amount of loader work, but it's when you got to hook that machine up to a PTO driven implement that it's going to either shine or not. So I went into this by writing down every tractor brand I could think of. I got on forums. If I heard of a new tractor that I hadn't heard of before, let's say Branson, where we are here in Ohio, there's not a lot of Branson dealers. So I made a giant list of every tractor that I could find in the 25 to 45 horsepower class, and I researched every brand for a while. I would spend like 1 month on one tractor brand. I would talk to dealers, I would get online, I'd watch videos. If I knew someone that had experience with that tractor, I would call them and talk to them. This is a pretty big investment, buying a tractor, so I wanted to be educated when I did make this decision. The way my wife and I looked at it, we need the tractor to get the full potential out of the property, and in that case that tractor is going to be worth its weight in gold. So let's go through some tractor brands that I spoke about. First one I looked at was Kubota. I know a lot of guys with Kubotas. The electrician that worked on my house said his dad has a L3901. You know, I talked to him, he said from him operating it, there's things he liked, things he didn't like. The main thing that turned me off on Kubota is I called a dealer, a local dealer here, and I felt like I was wasting that guy's time, and the fact that excuse me, he was just priced super high, and instantly I was like, nah, that's out of the budget. We had agreed on the amount of money we wanted to spend. So I really like the Kubotas, but I was like, I'm not dealing with that dealer. So the next thing I looked at is we have 2 Rural Kings within probably 40 miles. One of them selling tractors. The other one's been telling me for a year they're going to start selling tractors soon. So, but made a couple trips to Rural King. I really like the RK37. Turn some heat down here. So I really wanted to like the RK37. It's a nice tractor. It's got a lot higher lift capacity in the front. And it comes with a lot of options that I didn't see on the Kubota that came standard on the 3901. Already came with loaded rear tires. Already came with a rear remote, which is something that I was going back and forth on. The third function kit was just pretty much plug in and play. It felt nicer to me, which it's not an economy tractor like the Kubotas I was looking at. I wish I could go out and buy a Grand L, but that's just not going to happen. The thing that killed me on Rural King is the fact that no no matter where I went, no matter what store I called, nobody knew anything about the tractors. And that's kind of one of the constant things I hear about on these forums, Facebook pages. I thought that was my dad right there, but it's not. Is the fact that, you know, Rural King tractors are made by TYM, which is a pretty well-known Korean brand. But the problem is, Rural King is purchasing these to their specs, their color, their stickers. The problem with me is, how is the dealer support going to be 10 years down the road? You buy a tractor, for a lot of people, it's a 30-year investment. You're going to have that tractor 30 years, unless, you know, you downsize or you upgrade to a bigger tractor. Downsize, I mean, you go to I see a lot of tractors for sale that guys are selling because, you know, hey, we moved back into the city, blah, blah, blah. So that just killed me on Rural King. And probably the biggest kicker is, I've been on every tractor forum I could think of. A guy messaged me and says, hey, I'm a big dealer. I'm not going to say his name, where he's from. He says, I sell 4 brands of tractors. He says, I see that you're on all these forums. You're asking a lot of the right questions. He says, if I can give you any piece of advice, he says, I sell TYM. He said, do not buy a TYM. And this guy is a couple thousand miles from me, so he knew I wasn't going to go there for the sale, but I appreciated his honesty. And what he told me was, TYM is doing some mergers over there right now. I don't remember what they were, but the fact of the matter is, excuse me, he said he just sold a $40,000 TYM. Customer had it for a couple weeks. I believe it was a front wheel seal went bad. He could not get the parts. For almost 10 weeks, that tractor sat in his showroom, or his shop, I should say, and he couldn't get parts for it. So that guy made 3 payments on that tractor, and 2 of the 3 payments it was sitting in a shop, and he couldn't get parts for it. He said getting the parts out of Korea is just a problem right now. There's something with some kind of computer system issue. But he told me, if you're going to spend your hard-earned money on a tractor, he says, as much as I like the TYMs, he says parts availability is hard on them right now in certain areas. And I know, I talked to everybody at Rural King. Oh, we just built our own 1 million square foot facility. Yes, I understand that. But that facility is still buying TYM parts. So as much as I like the Rural King, as much as I was settled on the Rural King for quite a while, the parts availability scared me. The fact that a couple stores have been telling me for over a year, hey, we're getting tractors next week, we're getting tractors next week. It's been over a year and you guys still don't have tractors. The one place I did that does have them in stock that I drove to on multiple occasions to check them out, the guy selling them wasn't very knowledgeable, which I understand. I used to be a salesman. It takes a while to get in the swing of things. But simple questions like, hey, if this happens, do I just bring it back here? Nobody knows. Nobody knows who's working on them. He told me he was a certified tractor tech. That's all I know. So then I was like, well, benefit of the doubt, I called TYM, a TYM dealer, and there's not one really close to me, but I was willing to give him a shot. That dealer said, hey, I didn't even tell him I was looking at Rural King tractors. He said, hey, we are having a problem getting some parts. I have been having some issues with tractors lately. And then he instantly tried to push me into another brand. So that's 2 dealers that sell other brands that said, hey, I don't want you to come back mad at me when I can't get your parts. And then the Rural King guy, just, I don't think they're going to be around 10 years from now. I hope I'm wrong. I love watching Outdoors with the Morgans. I know he loves his tractors. I understand the deal they have. But I just couldn't pull the trigger. For me, when you're buying a tractor, you're buying a relationship with that dealer just as much as a piece of equipment. What's the good of having a piece of equipment if I can't get parts? The Rural King guy couldn't even tell me if he would come get my tractor if it broke down. He had to check on everything. A month later, I would call him, and he still didn't have any answers. It's just a red flag for me, guys. Don't get me wrong; they're great tractors. My dad loved the TYM, especially with the cab. So, next brand. Sorry guys, I'm getting over a chest cold. Next brand I looked at was LS. I understand LS makes tractors for some of the other brands in New Holland, etc. I like the LS tractors. Another problem with me is the dealer around me has only been around a year and a half. They have 4 tractors, which isn't a problem. Hey, I'll support small local business any chance I get. The problem with LS is online on YouTube, I've seen some people having electric issues. So I called, or actually went over there. They're not far from one of the other tractors dealers I was dealing with. So I went over there and talked to their staff, looked at the tractors, and I said, hey, do you have an in-house mechanic that works on these tractors? They said no. Okay, red flag. All right. Well, let me hear what they have to say. I asked them, hey, if something is wrong with this tractor, if you don't have the computer equipment and I bring it back here, what happens? And the salesperson says, we load it up on one of our trucks and we take it down the road. I said, down the road where? Well, we have a guy down the road who works on them in his garage. So I'm going to drop off my $30,000 tractor to you. You're not telling me where you're taking it, but you're taking it to someone's personal garage. If it's not a personal garage, then I'm sorry, but that is not the way it was implied to me. They literally said, we have a guy down the road who works on them in his garage. And we think he has the computer equipment. Well, then if he's that good of a mechanic, why aren't you just paying him? I understand there's a bunch of variables there as well. So, that was LS. The New Hollands, they're okay. Like I said, I did check out the New Hollands. But the whole fact that they're still made by LS and electrical issues, I just went away from that. That brings us to John Deere. I'm not saying John Deere is a bad tractor by any means. I have a lot of friends that own big farms, and that's all they run is John Deere. I do understand that the smaller John Deeres are not made by John Deere. They are made by, I believe, Iseki out of Japan. The one thing I did not like about some of the John Deere models I looked at is the loader does not come off the tractor. It's on there all the time. Which I don't foresee taking a loader off all the time, but sometimes maintenance issues, it can be easier to pop the loader off. I don't like certain things about transmission having some aluminum components. Yes, aluminum is very strong. Just not my alley, I guess. And you guys got to remember, I have 3 older farm tractors, so I'm used to just big steel American tractors. But they're just not going to work on this new property. I don't like some of the proprietary things that John Deere has, and it would just cost a lot of money to modify that to do the skid steer quick attach. And they're just, I think, don't get me wrong, they're nice tractors. I think they're priced a little high. Mahindra, a guy I work with says, hey, my buddies have a Mahindra dealer, which I was unaware about. So I had to drive about, I don't know, 50 minutes to a Mahindra dealer. Kind of the same new things as smaller tractors. They're not a tractor dealer. They sell other things, and they picked up the line. Okay. I understand I've been doing a lot of research on tractors for the last 12 months. But the guy I talked to didn't know a whole lot about tractors. And I understand they have one guy who's the tractor guy. He was not there at the time. I get it. The thing that got me with Mahindra is Mitsubishi makes some of the models, TYM makes some of the models, and these guys just didn't have a clue. I don't think they sold a whole lot. I wish them the best of luck. They're great dudes. And Trevor, if you're watching this video, I'm sorry. I wanted to buy a tractor from the guys you sent me to. I just couldn't do it. Kind of the same thing. They're kind of far away from me. They didn't really, they're new, I get it. They didn't even know that Mitsubishi and TYM made those 2 models of tractors. They said, no, it's Mahindra makes all this. I said, no, they don't. Okay, I get it. You guys are new, it's fine. I don't feel comfortable dropping my money here. The next tractor, KIOTI. Up until I started researching this, I had never heard of a KIOTI. So I talked to some dealers, and it's like you call about a tractor and they, no matter what brand you call about, they're trying to push you into something else. If I'd call a Kubota dealer that sold New Holland, they were like, hey, look at the New Holland. If I called another dealer that had New Holland and Kubota asking about the New Holland, hey, have you checked out our Kubotas? I understand it. And a dealer even told me, hey, a lot of guys that come in here are not as well educated as they should be when they're spending money. They don't know what they need. They try and buy the biggest tractor they can get, and they have no idea what they're going to be using it for or the capabilities. So I appreciated that. Basically, he's like, hey, you've done your research. You're going to make a smart decision. All right. I like the KIOTIs. The only problem is there's really not a dealer anywhere near me. And on these forums, guys are like, hey, buy from so-and-so in Missouri or North Carolina. They'll ship it to you for free. Yeah, that's fine. But when I have a problem with it, am I driving it back to North Carolina? Am I driving it 5 hours just for the whatever parts I need? I know I can buy them online. I'm a little old school, I guess. I like that dealer-customer interaction. So, KIOTIs are a fine tractor, but I just, through the location where we are, there's not a lot of them. I don't even know anybody that personally owned a KIOTI. And hey, the guys in the KIOTI group, they're great. I joined every single group I could find, you know, and I was upfront and forward. What tractor model do you own when you tried to get in the group? I would say, hey, I'm just looking. I don't own anything. Here's the property I bought. Here's what I'm going to be doing. Everybody let me in their groups, which I appreciate. I'm still in every one of those groups. Just because I buy brand X doesn't mean I'm gonna get out of everyone else's. There's still a compact tractor, and you're gonna learn good things from every group. Like, I don't know. It's like the best ideas I saw for mounting lights didn't come from the tractor I'm probably gonna be buying. It's a group. So, what am I forgetting? Oh, someone's like, hey, you gotta take a look at the new Bobcat tractors. Yeah, I understand. They're not made by Bobcat. Everything's rebranded. I get it. So, it is Saturday right now. I signed the papers and bought the tractor on Friday, and it's gonna be delivered on Monday. So, I'm not gonna tell you what brand I went with, but all I'm gonna say is this. When you're buying a piece of equipment, they all make good machines. Would I be happy with any one of those tractors? Yes, I would be. For me, it's the stuff after the sale and beyond. Am I going to have a relationship with my dealer? Yes. Are they somewhat in close proximity? Yes. If I have a question, can I call them and they know exactly who I am, where I'm at, what tractor I have, and can they help me right there and then and now? Yes. Some of these tractors, like I've been researching tractors in the middle of winter. There's not a lot of guys buying tractors in the middle of winter. I still could not get some dealers to call me back. And every one of those tractor brands I had mentioned, I tried to find a dealer that was somewhat close to me to at least do an initial talk to. If I had to save some money and drive a ways, I would do it. But sometimes I would call a dealer not even in my state just to see what he had to tell me, to see if the first guy was being honest with me. So, I know this video is getting about 20 minutes long, but that's where I am right now. I purchased a tractor. I just found a great deal I couldn't turn down. But for me, guys, this is what I'm going to tell you, is find a dealer that you trust and who's going to take care of you. For me, I just didn't feel comfortable buying a tractor out of state, and then there's no one around here for me to service it. And I understand no matter what brand you buy, whether it be, it's a Ford, Chevy, Dodge thing, no matter what brand you buy, there's a potential to be a lemon. I understand that wholeheartedly. But I don't know. It's a big investment. It's a lot of money. So, new tractor comes Monday. I'm off work that day, and maybe we'll do a video. But if you guys have any questions, hit me up. I'll tell you what I liked and what I didn't like about certain brands. I'm not gonna knock any dealer particular. I think they all took their time out the other day to talk to me. But it's just some could offer more than what others could. And for me, it's buy something that I'm gonna have dealer support on. And my wife agreed, and she went to the dealer that we're buying from, and they treated her like family. They treated our daughter like family. So that's where we are. I'm probably forgetting some brands I spoke about. So that's where we are. Sorry for the kind of long rant. But if you guys have any questions, get a hold of me, and I'll tell you my experiences. So I hope everybody has a good day. Be safe. Have fun. This is Robert from Pheasant Lane Farm. And if you could subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. Have a good day, everybody.